So we're going to make a paper rosette for someone that we love, for someone that we're proud of, for someone we appreciate, or just to tell them that they're really good at something. And sometimes we all need that. So the first thing you'll need to do is cut out some circles. My yellow ones, I cut around a cup. You'll need 4 circles. You can choose to do different colours like I did. I did 2 blue and 2 yellow, but you can do all the same colour if you like. I did 2 slightly smaller yellow circles and 2 larger blue ones. And as you can see here, you stick one on top of the other to make like a nice border. So you just use some Pritt stick here. I'm using coloured paper, but you might choose to colour in some circles and cut them out if you don't have coloured paper, okay? And this is just normal paper. It's not card or anything. I'm just using paper here. And again, you're going to stick one coloured circle on top of the other so that you end up with 2 identical circles like this. One is going to be the back and one is going to be the front. And you might choose to do a double-sided rosette, which says one thing on one side and says another thing on the other. So once you've got that, perfect. Now, once we've done the face and the back of our rosette, we're going to make some tails. So these are going to be the ribbons that sit out the bottom of our rosette. I'm using 2 different coloured pieces of paper, but again, you could choose to just do one colour. I've taken one A4 sheet and I folded it over, and I'm going to cut out 2 identical ribbons in each one, okay? So the shape that I'm going to draw, I'm going to show you here. It's going to start a little bit smaller at the top, and it's going to fan out at the bottom like this, and there's going to be a big triangle out the bottom. It's going to look like that, okay? So I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to use it as a template to draw another set of ribbons. You can do any size rosette that you want to. This one, I don't have any sizes for, I'm just making it up as I go. So I've got a set of purple ribbons, I've got 2, that will sit overlapped like this. And I'm going to draw a pair of orange ones that are a slight touch bigger. So again, I'm going to do like a border. So I'm going to lay one ribbon down, and I'm going to trace out a ribbon that's maybe a centimetre or 2 wider. But again, you don't have to do this. This is an extra step, but I think it makes it look really nice, and you can use a lot of different colours, and it can be really bright and bold. So there you go. So again, my folded edge is here, and I'm going to cut out 2 exact ribbons. I'm using a pencil so I can rub this out later if any of the lines are showing. And I'm using a big pair of scissors to be really quick, but you might want to take your time if you're not very good at cutting. And you might want to use a smaller pair of scissors. Keep the paper together. Don't do what I did and just separate them like that. That would be quite hard to keep your ribbons together. Voila. So again, we're going to stick the smaller pair of ribbons on top of the larger pair like this. Oops, I think that one goes on there. Yeah. So you're going to glue these onto here. Just like that. Now moving on to the edging of your rosette. This is probably the hardest bit. It's not very hard, but it takes a little bit of time, and you just have to fold it, so you've got to use your fingers. So I've taken an A4 piece of paper. This time it's green, and I'm also going to use red. And I folded it in half, and I cut it down the middle to create 2 thin strips. Now you're going to fold these strips forwards and backwards. So I'm going to start with a forwards fold. I'm going to fold roughly about a centimetre, maybe 2 centimetres, like that. See the fold? And I'm going to make sure it's nice and crisp. And then we're going to flip the paper over and fold again, folding away from me. And I'm going to flip it over and do it again. And each time I fold it, I'm flipping it so that it faces on the opposite side of the paper I previously folded, okay? So each time you fold it, you flip it over, you fold away from you, flip it over, make sure the crease is nice and flat, and fold again. And you keep going all the way to the bottom, okay? All the way until the end, and then when you unfold it, you get this nice fan shape, which looks like this, okay? So I'm going to show you in fast motion, and I'll come back to you when I've finished that bit. depending on how big your fan is, or sorry, your rosette is, as how many of these paper fans you sort of need to make. I made 4, but then again, I've got a lot, so you might only need to make 2 or 3, depending on how big you want to make your rosette. Once you've made them, you're then going to stick them together. So on one edge, you get some Pritt stick, or you could use a stapler if you don't have any glue, and you put a nice bit of glue here on that last fan. Then you're going to apply the second one. So what I like to do is I like to scrunch them together so that they're all nice and neat like this. And I lay them on top of one another, and I give them a squeeze and press them together. And ta-da! Once you've got them all glued together, or as many as that you would like to do, you don't have to have 4. Like I said, it could be less than that. You are going to create a circle. So you're going to stick the 2 ends together. So you do the same process. Oh, I got stuck here. You do the same process. You glue one end and you stick it to the other, okay? So I'm going to do this end and show you really quickly. And this craft is really quick, so you can do this in 10 minutes. You can make someone a really nice gift. So what you're going to do is you're going to snake it around so that it meets its bottom end. So I'm going to glue it together, and I'm going to make sure I get them quite straight on that edge so it all looks really nice and neat. And then when you push it down flat, whoop, thank you, you get this. Look at that, a beautiful rosette. Now the final part is sticking it all together. So you're going to take your paper circles from the beginning, you're going to stick one on the front and one on the back using a lot of nice Pritt stick glue, or you can use a little bit of tape if you don't have it. Before you stick the front one on, you're going to need to stick your ribbon tails onto the back of your circle. So I have overlapped my ribbons just slightly so they sit like this. And now I'm going to attach them to my front circle. So I'm going to use a lot of nice glue. Again, you can use a stapler if you don't have a glue stick. And you're just going to position it so it sits in the middle. Really nice and neat. Make sure you don't get glue everywhere like I do, or there's glue all over the table already. And you're ready to stick it together. So stick one on the front and one of your circles on the back, and then you can decorate it. So once it's all glued together, you've glued the circle onto the back and you've glued your front with your ribbons onto the front, you can decorate it any way you choose. You could draw a nice little picture in the center, or you could do something like I did. I put world's best ever tea maker for my mum, and I made a little picture of a cup of tea. But you could do whatever you want. Maybe you want to put your favorite person's football team on the front, or you want to put a picture of them. You could print out a nice picture and stick it on there of them, or of them and you. That would be really nice. Whatever you want to put in the center is completely up to you. It might be something that they're good at. It might be something that you remember that you did with them. Maybe you went to see a play or to see a film and you want to put that in the center here. It might be something that you always laugh about when you think about them. It could be anything. But sometimes it's nice to make someone something from the heart that really makes them think about you as a friend, or as their daughter, or their son, or their brother, their sister, friend, whatever it may be, okay? Now there are a couple of options after you finish it. Once it's all nice and you're all happy with how it looks, you could on the back glue a fridge magnet, and it could be a fridge magnet. You could glue a safety pin onto the back and it could become a big badge. It could be so many things. You could keep it as this and give it to them and they could display it, maybe on the shelf. But whatever you do, spend some time decorating it and make it for someone. Really personalize it, okay? So here's my final piece. I'm going to stick it to my fridge. And when I get back to the UK, I'm going to give it to my mum, Anne. But really, if it's for Anne, it should probably say world's best ever toast maker, right? Everybody loves Anne's toast. I don't know why. Anyway, hope you have a good day, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.